Okay, hello everyone. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how nations without air defense survive modern airstrikes. So in modern warfare, air superiority often decides everything. Jets flying thousands of meters above the ground, uh, missiles launched from ships hundreds of kilometers away, and explosions that arrive with no warning. But what happens when a nation has no air defense? Or maybe the air defense is largely, let's say, not that effective or as strong as that of the opponent, whereby you have no missiles, no interceptors, no radar shield. Is such a nation completely helpless? So history tells us a different story. Today we explore how nations without air defense protect themselves during airstrikes, and why survival is not always about stopping bombs, but about outlasting them. So, so I'm going to talk about one myth of air defense. So when we think of air defense, we imagine advanced systems, missiles that intercept missiles, radars that see everything, protective shield in the sky. But here's the truth: even the most advanced air defenses do not stop all attacks. In real wars, air defense systems intercept some threats, not all. They are also expensive, they can be overwhelmed, and they often fail to protect civilians completely. For many nations, especially poorer or smaller ones, air defense is simply unaffordable. So they turn to something else. They turn to civil defense, protecting the people and not the skies. The first and most effective defense is not military, it's civil defense. Countries without air defense focus on saving lives, not shooting down jets. They build underground shelters, reinforced basements, subways that double as bunkers. They also train civilians to react fast, or maybe on where to hide, how to respond to silence, how to evacuate without panic. For example, in wars from World War II to Gaza to Ukraine, one lesson is clear: prepared civilians do survive. Airstrikes are terrifying, but panic kills more people than bombs. So you don't need interceptors to get warnings. Nations without air defense rely on civil aviation radar, satellite data, allied intelligence, and also human spotters. Last but not the least is the mobile phone alert systems, whereby a person who is able to spot maybe an attack can warn others. Mobile phone alert systems, whereby we have apps. For example, in Israel, I understand they have mobile apps, whereby in case of an attack, you get an alert on your mobile phone. So that is very, very, very key. Just like an app every day. Maybe you get it like, or you get a notification of an SMS there. So even a 30-second warning can mean the difference between life and death. So people, after they get the warning, people move underground. Hospitals activate emergency protocols, either for the wounded or for saving lives, and also power stations systems shut down safely. So that at least there can be minimal damage in case of an attack. Especially you see areas like the Russian war in Ukraine, where they normally attack power stations very, very, very much. Early warning. So early warning, basically it turns surprise attacks into manageable crisis. So how do you make targets hard to destroy? If you can't stop the bombs, you make bombing pointless. So this is called dispersion and hardening. Instead of one big power station, you build several smaller ones. Like you have like you have more quantity over quality. Maybe smaller power stations instead of a large one. Whereby where a large one is stuck, you lose everything, as opposed to having a smaller ones which are scattered all over. Instead of having one command center, you use mobile or underground locations as command centers. Also, critical infrastructure is also spread out, reinforced, and also hidden from sight or from discovery by the enemy. And also, or example, those critical infrastructure are designed to be repaired quickly in case they are attacked. And also, sometimes airstrikes depend on high-value targets. So when targets disappear or reappear somewhere else, air power loses its advantage. Okay. So for example, the systems. You see the Ukraine, they're using HIMARS, which are very mobile. or even some artillery switches mobile, so that when they attack, they change positions very quickly. Resilience can act as deterrence. So how do other those nations also use resilience as deterrence if they do not have air defense systems? So one of the most powerful weapons against airstrikes is resilience. When a nation keeps functioning despite attacks, electricity returns, maybe water flows, communications resume, the attacker faces a problem. For example, the attacker thinks that if bombing changes nothing, why should I keep bombing? This is called resilience-based deterrence. If it doesn't stop the first air strike, but it often shortens the war. So, sorry, it doesn't stop the first strike, but it often shortens the war. So the enemy will think over. These people are very resilient. Let us negotiate to end the war. And also another strategy such a nation can adopt is using diplomacy, which is like an invisible shield. So airstrikes are not just military actions, they are political decisions. Nations without air defense invest heavily in alliances, having alliances with other nations, international law, maybe having international law protect you, and also media visibility, where you document the impact of the strikes or the crimes being committed as a result of those strikes. And also they document civilian harm. They invite journalists also to view the destruction caused by those airstrikes. They also bring cases to global institutions. For example, we have seen in an instance whereby President Putin is wanted. A warrant of arrest is out at the International Court of Justice, and also that of Benjamin Netanyahu and also some Hamas leaders. Okay. Every bomb dropped under global scrutiny raises additional political costs. So sometimes diplomacy protects our skies better than our missiles. Also, what is the other response? Asymmetric responses. Some nations respond asymmetrically, not with jets, but with cyber defense, economic leverage, strategic positioning. They shift the battlefield away from the air. For example, we have seen Ukraine striking what have we called oil refineries or assets inside Russia. We have also seen Ukraine. Sometimes it takes responsibility for killing of Russian senior military officials inside Russia itself. Alright. So they shift the battlefield away from the air and also strategic positioning. The message to the enemy becomes clear. You may control the skies, but you can't control the outcome. So in conclusion, so what really defends a nation? A nation without air defense is not defenseless. True defense is not only about missiles and radar. It is about prepared people, smart planning, dispersed infrastructure, political awareness, national resilience. In modern warfare, survival belongs not just to the strongest, but to the most adaptable. Because sometimes the greatest shield is the refusal to collapse. So, ladies and gentlemen, and if you found this this video insightful, please like the video, subscribe for more deep videos like analysis like this, and tell us in the comments, can resilience defeat air power? Okay, thank you. Bye.